welcome to the Creative Hive Facebook Live. This is a fun and friendly place where everyone can kind of get to know you and the WinHouse. And really the goal today for anybody watching is to talk about WinHouse, the shelter, what they do, who they help, and why they help so many women. And, just to give you an idea, and this was staggering to me. I was reading through your website and the annual reports, and that 1 in 3 women in Canada are still affected by domestic violence. Like it was completely, but WinHouse is that safe place. It's the safe place for emergency services for women and children, and hundreds are using those services. Now, right now, things have changed, and we'll get into that a little bit, but these women are part of the team there. So we're welcoming this morning Renee and Connie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. Yeah, thanks for having us.
You know what? This is really just a chance to share what you guys do best. And let's start by introducing each of you. Renee, tell us a little bit about you and what brought you to that path to WinHouse.
So I actually just started with WinHouse on March 16th, day of school cancellations and quarantine. So it's been pretty much a whirlwind, exciting whirlwind, but I have been involved with WinHouse for the last 3 years as a volunteer. Working with the gala committee and participating in the golf tournament and speaking at a few different functions for them. So it feels like I've been here for years, and at the same time, it feels like a week. So yeah, it's been exciting.
Connie, you have spent so much time at WinHouse. I remember, now for anybody who's watching, Connie and I are both from Gibbons originally, just north of Edmonton, and we grew up across the street from each other. So our families have been close for a very long time. And I remember younger, helping to paint, and that you were always there and the passion you felt for it. So Connie, tell us a little bit about your journey through WinHouse, because you've been there quite some time.
Yes, I have actually. I was a frontline worker in the 80s when the girls were small, my girls. And I always knew I quit because I wanted to be closer to the girls. But I always knew that I needed to go back in some way. And so I did. I now have been the shelter director for over 10 years. Prior to that, I was the volunteer and community relations coordinator for about 10 years. So I'm looking at just over 20 years this time around. And I was at about 5 years back in the 80s when I worked as a frontline worker. So yeah, I've always been very passionate about the work that WinHouse does. Absolutely. And I love my job.
It's one of those industries, though, that you really wish you didn't have to have a job, right?
Absolutely.
But that isn't the case. Let's talk the reality, ladies. What are we seeing? People, I've heard it. It's a myth. Oh, domestic violence, that's still happening? No. Well, we've fixed that all up. Reality?
Still happening.
Mm-hmm.
Our shelters, we operate 3 shelters. 2 of them are emergency shelters, and within those 2 emergency shelters, we have 15 rooms. We have space for 13 families and 2 singles. We are normally always at capacity. So women and children, we're always full. Always. Right now during COVID, we have though noticed kind of an eerie slowdown for some reason, and we can't quite figure it out, other than the fact that possibly the women are having a hard time getting through to us because their partner is always home. So yeah.
It doesn't stop, does it, Renee? And
No.
What messaging do you feel so important to continue to get out there? Let's talk about some of the reality, the numbers that are out there, and the reality of what you guys see day to day.
So as Connie mentioned, we have noticed that since the date of school cancellations and isolation, we have noticed a drop in our crisis calls by half. So as Connie mentioned, we are noticing an eerie silence, and it isn't a yay, the calls are slowing down. It's how do we reach these women who are stuck in isolation, experiencing domestic abuse and violence, and we also know that there's children in those situations as well. And when there are money issues, financial issues, and children at home all the time, most parents know that stress associated with either of those. And so we're also seeing that domestic violence is increasing with those stressors, which are one of your stressors on a good day. So one of the main statistics that kind of shocked me last week was to find out one woman dies every 6 days in Canada at the hands of domestic violence. That kind of hits home when you have that kind of statistic, that it's a weekly thing for a woman in Canada to die at the hands of domestic violence. So as well as the 1 in 3 women are affected by domestic violence, because if you put that in context of your street or your friends, that means 1 in 3 women that you pass in a day or that are being affected by some form of abuse in their home. And I think what we really wanted, people to know is we really want to reach the women in isolation right now and let them know that, we are here. If you can find a safe way to leave, we will help you find a safe way. But if you can find a safe way to leave the house, to make a phone call, go to a store, go anywhere, go to a neighbor's and just pick up the phone and dial the helpline, and we will help you find a way to safely leave or get the supports that you need to get out.
Connie, with so many years working in this, and we've never faced something like we are with COVID, and I think we need to really hone in on that this is new for everyone, but on so many levels for what you guys deal with day to day. You're used to the people coming to you. Now you have to try and get to them. How does that feel?
It's sad.
Yeah.
Really sad that we aren't able to reach them at this time. Renee, though, is doing an amazing job at helping us to find new ways. Technology is pretty amazing these days, right? Here we are having a meeting over our cell phones. I'm on my cell phone. So we are looking at a way for clients to text to landline. And as I say, Renee's working on that right now. It's really important to us to be able to reach the women in any way possible. If we can't speak to them in person, over a phone call, with them phoning our crisis line, our helpline, at least they can text our helpline and we can get them some information that way. So
yeah, there's so many ways. And as we continue to talk, I'm just going to share my screen because you guys have some incredible graphics and some things that you've done that are very poignant, and they hit home. That's just the reality. They are sometimes hard to see. Obviously that logo says a lot, doesn't it? You see that and it's safe. That's what you guys have done. So kudos to that. That logo means safety. It means help. And WinHouse does so much more than just provide shelter and stuff. The care that you guys provide, let people know what you do. You welcome them in, yes, but it goes so much beyond that.
Yeah, exactly. It does go beyond that. We run quite a few programs within the shelters. We have our crisis intervention program, and those positions are staffed 24/7. So there's always someone there to talk to help guide you through your journey, right? As you possibly move on to independent living. We also have outreach workers who will continue to work with you once you've left shelter as well, which is nice to have that ongoing support for the clients. We have child support workers. We have playrooms in both of the shelters, which are unfortunately closed right now due to COVID. But again, just, some ways to help mom take a break even, right? Get some respite care for her children while she takes care of phone calls and those types of things, sometimes even some appointments, outside of shelter. We have housekeeping staff on at all of our locations as well. And the housekeeping staff are there to prepare meals for the women, so they don't have to worry about that while they're in shelter. What other programs am I missing?
It's such a well-rounded machine. You don't just look after them physically, but mentally and emotionally, and that support for their children gives it. And I think it's important that people know that when they're giving to WinHouse or supporting WinHouse, that you're not just providing a place for them to stay, you're providing so much more for that. And while we're in COVID, how has that changed how people can donate and support WinHouse?
I'll let Renee talk about that one.
So we have set up the WinHouse COVID Relief Fund, which it's acting as a fund which will enable us to be able to provide additional needs as they come up. Be it we have had to stop accepting in-kind donations for the time just due to COVID and AHS's safety regulations. So the COVID Relief Fund just kind of offsets and captures any additional expenses we may be incurring, as well as to provide additional shelter, additional programs, and additional, needs for those who come through our space.
And we'll put the link right after this Facebook Live in the comments below, so people can, first of all, find WinHouse if they want more information for themselves, for a loved one, or just to help out or volunteer. But I'll also put a separate link just directly to where people can donate to, because it's a really easy form. You click, you can donate right away, and you know that it's going to help, because it's hard. I mean, how many of your donations before came in kind? So is that a big switch for you guys?
A large amount of our donations come in kind. We also hold our fundraising events, which this year, due to COVID, we've had to postpone most of them and cancel our golf tournament. So a lot of our revenue or our regular donations and income come from events and third-party events, which we have lost for the year due to the pandemic. So, the COVID Relief Fund was set up to help offset some of those revenue losses that we've had, so that we can continue to operate and provide the same care and programming that we've always provided.
Anybody watching this, either one of you, if you know someone who might be in a situation you want to help, what can you do? What is the right approach to that?
I'll let Connie speak to this one.
The right approach to help a friend who possibly needs shelter. I would say to support them in any way you can to help them to reach out to us. Even to reach out on their behalf is a great way to make a start, and we can give them a little more information to share with their friend. But just, support them as much as you can.
And it is all very confidential.
Mm-hmm.
It's very confidential. Absolutely.
WinHouse has a very good reputation for that, the maintaining of safety for anybody and everyone that comes to you.
That's correct. Yes. All of our locations are confidential. We've got great security systems at all of our locations. We take every precaution possible to keep all of our clients safe, as well as our staff. And
everyone. So you guys have really done some interesting campaigns right now during COVID, beyond the COVID Relief Fund, which is vitally important, but you've done some really good social media campaigns. I want to touch a little bit on that. I think I have one coming here. This hashtag campaign. Renee, can you tell me about it, how it got started, and why you guys started this?
So I guess the motivation behind it for us is to raise awareness. Right now, we're not in an environment to be marketing as we usually would, or creating, drives for donations, stuff like that. So our focus became on awareness of domestic violence, shining a light on domestic violence. And we do know that, there are a lot of people in unsafe homes when home's not safe. And we also wanted to spend some time and really focus on recognizing all the businesses, our sponsors, our donors, our partners, just the people who even, the in-kind donation, all the people who give to WinHouse, whether it's their time, money, or items. So we wanted to recognize them through the hashtag Why I Give to Win. And the motivation behind it all was we all have a personal connection to domestic violence. Until you sit back and actually think about it, a lot of us don't realize it. Mm-hmm. And we kind of wanted to bring to light that personal connection that most people have to, whether it was you grew up in an abusive home, or there was an emotional abuse, or, you were in an abusive situation, or, you have a best friend who's dealing with it. We all are 6 degrees of separation from each other, which means we've all been affected. And bringing that to light, all of a sudden, when it becomes personal, people connect to that and want to make change. So our hope with the campaign is for people to connect to it and want to make change and start dialogue and take the shame away from domestic violence.
Absolutely. It's one of those ones that is heartbreaking to know that that's still shame, that there's still shame associated with domestic violence. So people can still, as we saw in those pictures, put a simple shine a light on DV hashtag and share that with your group and your network, and then their network can share and invite other people to join in all of those hashtags. And again, that information will post below this Facebook Live so that everyone can see those and know how they can get involved too. And you have some incredible partners like Jocelyn with Virtual Effects, who I know has an event coming with you guys in November. Fingers crossed will be a safe time to do some more of those in-person events, and then we can continue to raise money and awareness. And, as we wrap up here, what has happened through COVID that has maybe inspired you through all of this? I think that, I don't know about you, but there's been some real moments of positivity, of people stepping up and helping out. For you, what have those inspiring moments been?
Well, I would say for me, I have had so many inspiring moments when, COVID first hit, mostly with the staff, actually, our frontline workers, how they have gone above and beyond to support the clients that were already in shelter when COVID hit, but also those that are calling in. They've been just incredible, the staff. We have such an amazing team that work at all 3 of our houses, and they inspire me every day.
Absolutely. I don't know how it takes a very special person to emotionally help with that as well. So absolutely, huge shout out to them. And Renee, how about you?
Oh,
Where to start, right?
I cry almost daily. It's been so overwhelming. Seeing the power of community and the giving spirit still in everybody has been amazing. And the amount of, companies that have done campaigns for us over the last 6 weeks, or just made insanely generous donations, be it, IKEA with the home starter kits, or Oodle Noodle and running a campaign for us, and seeing them want to continue these campaigns on and be so inspired themselves by the generosity of community. The ripple effect of that it's been amazing. And I really truly hope that our community and globally we can hold on to that going forward.
You and me both. That reconnection to your neighbors and to the people across the street and just in your community and city as a whole has kind of been reconnected, right? And so if we can keep those fabrics together, I think we can do some amazing things as we all move forward. And I want to take a moment too, just to let everyone know too, that we're going to join in that helping out. And the Wear the Care project through the Creative Hive is a limited run clothing line designed by my sister, and you do community give backs. Our first shirt was the I'm Enough shirts, and we were able to give back to the Nina Haggerty Center for the Arts, and we'll continue to give back to them as well. But these are our next shirts coming out, the Loving Yourself shirts. And so a portion of the proceeds from all of these, we are going to happily give and donate to WinHouse. Hopefully we can have a hand in helping out there as well, because it's vitally important to do what you can.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Deb.
Anything.
And the shirts are beautiful. I have one of the shirts from the last campaign, and the fabric that you chose is amazing.
Wait till you see these ones. So they'll be landed. We should have them here within the next week or so, and then you'll see them on the site. We'll make sure to get them to you and your staff at WinHouse, and we'll definitely start working on that. But more importantly, let's get people the information on WinHouse. And as soon as that text information is available, share it with us so we can share it with other people too. The more people we can talk to and talk about it, we can help with this. So thank you both so much.
Thank you, Des. And I think, we can leave people with one message. It's just, if you are suffering in a home with domestic violence, you are going to be believed, you are going to be supported, and there are people here and ready to love and get you out of these situations. Just call. Just pick up the phone.
Yes, very well said, Renee. Absolutely. Just call. We'll do whatever we can to help you out of that situation.
As you
And
have
thank
been
you,
for
Des.
decades.
Thank you, Des.
You are so welcome. Mwah. Have a lovely afternoon.